This is Fam Electric Ghost, and we are live on my Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook channels with the safety word. And we're glad to have you guys on the video podcast. Guys,
Good morning.
Good
Hey, how
morning.
are you?
Yeah, it's Monday for you. It's still Sunday for me.
Yeah, it's also the winter solstice today, so this is the shortest day of the year, which would be the darkest.
Yeah, we
for
don't
us.
hit that. We don't hit that for a while.
Yeah.
We're still
Yeah.
going through the summer winter. Oh, we're trying to get through things, but yeah, we're happy to be with you on the new video podcast. We've been doing this all year, and we're glad to get everybody that's ever been on the audio version. And just to let everybody know, the audio version is still going to happen. You know, we still produce the Spotify and Apple from this, but we are live now because that's the difference between the other show, is we're actually live on my Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And we've got like your brand new song. We're gonna cue it up. So we got the safety word with Run, and this is your official music video. We're actually gonna play it, and then we'll go into the backside and talk about it, and then talk about some other things with your band. And so let's hold tight. We're gonna play this, and then we'll put you on mute, and then we'll come back. Okay.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
So that was the safety word with Run, and we're back. So we can get back to the main angle. How you guys doing? You guys can hear me.
I'm doing pretty good, thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did it right. So Yeah, that's what I like about that video. You know, can I kind of show my age? Right, I'm a child of the '70s, so I was around when MTV first showed up, and
Yep.
that's kind of like reminds me of like the early like new wave, new romantic videos that you saw
Awesome. Yeah.
from like the back in the day with like The Cure and
Mm.
or even probably like more like Joy Division and New
Yeah, they
Order.
were really simple, and it had that sort of just
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, Joy
That they had a
Division,
lot of
New
those.
Order videos were always like the ones I was like, oh yeah, that's why I want to be a keyboard player. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
because like
Definitely.
because
Well.
like I saw them and I was
Yeah.
like,
We're
yeah,
definitely fans. Yeah.
but
And
you have
I
like
really
yeah,
like that. Yeah, that 80s, 90s sort of rage video clip look, where it's just really simple and um, like just shot with sort of low budget and that sort of thing, and it's just quite
well, it's
simplistic
about
but
the music,
powerful. Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. Yeah,
It's not like there was a period where MTV started doing all these high concept. They started bringing these film directors in. Probably like when
yeah,
Duran shows up, and then they have film directors doing movies.
hmm
It was
Right?
around the
yeah, little,
90s. Yeah, they really changed a
yeah,
lot then. In like late 80s, I think with the metal bands, they started doing these real big
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
sets. They
Well,
started
like
getting
Guns N'
yeah.
Roses
studios.
and Extreme, like when they went and did their whole thing, and they went like November Rain, or like okay,
Yeah, you
that's
set the
Yeah.
piano on fire and that kind of
that's like
thing.
What,
something.
what
I
was that
mean,
one where he jumps off like this big like this ocean liner or something? He had this huge giant, and then he starts swimming with dolphins. You know,
Yeah,
yeah, that's when you know you're getting
he
a
went
bit
out.
over the top
He
when
jumped
you're
the shark.
swimming with dolphins. Yep.
He
yeah,
jumped the shark. He jumped the dolphin. You know.
Yeah, that's
that
right.
was epic.
But look, we'd probably be up for doing those kind of film clips if we had the budget for it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
But we're
we
just
could do
we're just
something off the
working
top.
with what we've got, So we shot that ourselves and edited it ourselves and did all that sort of thing,
that's awesome. So it's
Yeah,
only
yeah.
you. There's no other director. Who's the
No,
woman? Who's the lady?
That's a good question.
yeah, the lady that's actually my wife in real
Oh,
life.
I was wondering if that was a real relationship, or is it like acting?
Yeah, well, we were I think that there was naturally
Hmm.
we obviously have a chemistry naturally. So the she I was sort of just it was very, very spur of the moment, and we just sort of did it all on the day. So the acting there was very spontaneous, and I like that because with acting, I think you can either really there's different forms of it. I think you can be doing things on purpose, or you can just be in the moment. And I
Yeah,
think the purity of it was that she didn't have any acting experience, so there was just pure moments there. I felt with it, and I think that was the idea, just to get these pure shots, these moments, and everything wasn't planned. It was all just basically improvised, and we just improvised the whole clip like
but it
that.
did seem to
Did a couple
feel
of takes.
it fit the vibe of
Hmm.
the song. It felt
Yeah,
what I thought the song was about. But I don't know. I always interpret songs the way everybody interprets a song a different way. But
Yeah,
it just felt like it felt a natural connection to what you were saying in the
yes,
vision, which is sometimes people go totally off kilter and do like Pink Floyd or something. You set somebody on fire, or you do
yeah, yeah.
you do something
But
odd. Okay,
it
yeah.
worked out pretty well because they had a driving lesson earlier that day that didn't go the best. I hope John doesn't mind me sharing this, but they I came around to their house where we shot the film clip, and they were actually a little bit. It was a little bit tense, and
It was, yeah.
Paola, who John's wife, who had agreed to help do the video, was almost not going to do it because she was a bit annoyed with John and his driving instructions. The
um,
lesson, but then
oh,
I said,
you
no,
gave the
use this. You've got to use this aggression and this energy because that's exactly what the song's about. That sort of
Yes.
so
Yeah,
tension
Johnny.
in a
exactly. So, so,
relationship.
so
So
there was a tension there, and
You gave the lesson to your
and we
wife.
put it. It's not successful.
That's probably a
Um,
hard thing to do. That's probably why I never did that.
yeah. It was. And that's the thing. I think in life, you're never going to be perfect, and because you don't have the script in front of you. You're constantly just reacting, or trying to put a situation forward, trying to create something, and you're always in in the air about things. You don't know how things are going to go, and you are going to have ups and downs, and especially relationships. I think they're always a reflection of where you're at as a person, and I think that it sort of fit the narrative of this song where we were, we disagreed, and that created the tension that ended up being on the video clip there. You could sort of get that vibe there, but it had that sort of essence there, which I think really it was synchronistic to the song, so it worked out well because we would have to do that anyway. But we
I
just
like
had
the feel of it, like you got the simple kind of nature of it, and then you kind of got the stream of consciousness, in terms of the acting, you did this kind. In terms of when I like to write music, I'm a big fan of being like into like, I'll just go down with my Moogs and I'll just do a bunch of my Rollins, just let the tape run, and then find the groove and then work on it, right? And a lot
Yeah,
of
well,
my
that's how
you guys
the
do it.
initial song. I've been writing like
structured
sort of
different.
ideas for songs during these things called splurges. And yeah, where you just it's like a stream of consciousness type thing. And yeah, sorry, my son's just opening the door. I'm just going to close that.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
it's interesting, like writing style, because like today there's so many producers that are like on the grid and very tight on the grid, and I'm kind of like I said, I'm a child of the '70s, right? So all my bands we started in the basement in the garage. We had like a Fostex recorder or a reel-to-reel, and we just laid it down because that's like we didn't have a DAW, we didn't have GarageBand, we didn't have anything. We just like laid stuff down. And that's kind of like I continue to write in that way just because I just like the way it produces material.
Yeah, I'm getting into trying to not have everything too quantized and playing in a lot of the beats on like a touchpad type thing, which is pretty cool. And yeah, not you're always tempted to go in and fix up notes and try and make things perfect. But some of the beauty in things is when there's things that are just slightly off by milliseconds, and so it has more of a natural vibe and swing to it. Yeah,
That's the one
definitely.
thing I do miss about like being on my Tascam and my Fostex is because I had to play it till I got it. I mean, I might have a click track, but I mean I had to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing like that. You have to, and I was going to say as well, I record all my demos now on an 8-track, just a Zoom 8-track. It's an R8, which is really good. They're like really small and stuff. And yeah, basically it's good because I know that vibe where you have to I like to hit record and record it all the way through, and then you get the real feel, and you get this momentum as well, building up to the end.
The grid kind of ticks me off in that then you're doing so many bars at a time, like in little tiny narrow swaths, right? Trying to get them perfect. Where like I like the old school of like thinking about like Bob Dylan and the band doing the basement tapes, right? Or doing Big Pink. They were in the basement. They running through. I mean, I have all the demos. I have all the tapes of that stuff, right?
Oh, wow.
And the cool thing about that stuff was like they would just run through something, and they'd have maybe like 20 versions of it, right? But each one they'd run through, and then some of them they're like, "Oh, change the key, change this,
yeah, try
change
some
that,"
different
right? And
different
then you're
vibes
hearing
on
them,
there.
yeah, you're hearing them work it out, and I'm like, that is like that's what I like.
Yeah, that's good.
That's when you have all the time to focus on music. You can actually just do 20 or 30 versions. I think the Beatles were really famous for that as well. They just had all these different, a lot of bands, especially around that time, they always had alternate versions, and lots of takes, because I just did so many takes, and obviously they explored in those takes to get the song where it had to be.
Even like
we're a little bit different in the fact that with vocals, but particularly that we go into a recording studio, Invention Studio in Footscray, just to plug there, who we love working with a guy called Ryan, who John's worked with for years, but he's an unofficial member of the band. We always record with him. Yeah, and he gives us a good rate and stuff, but it is always like we're on the clock, and also on a time fraction thing, so there's not so much room to experiment once we're in the studio.
It's very frantic. You just got to use every
we've only got 3 hours
minute
to get a whole song done. Otherwise we've got to wait a week and our deadlines are out and all that sort of stuff. So what we're doing now is, we'll demo the stuff either in my studio or John's studio and have it pretty much ready to go. That's where we do our experimentation. But then once we're in the studio, we try and stick to the script. Occasionally inspiration happens and we want to try and add a,
But do you ever get your
8-part choir or
producer-
something.
Does your producer ever take what you have and like you had the plan to just do it, right? And then
Mm.
somebody comes in and says, "Oh, move this to this, move that." And they
Yeah,
actually-
he definitely adds some of his ideas in there and stuff where he'll maybe play around with some structure or have suggestions and things like that.
But he
that can
doesn't
happen
add
for sure.
to it to the point where it like radically makes it so now you got to spend double the
Yeah.
time.
No.
No.
We usually stick. It's pretty much what we record. We end up going with there. I think we're all on the same page usually.
Okay.
Um,
So you don't have
so-
somebody saying, "Oh, like I'm gonna just totally rip the thing apart."
No, it never happens like that. It's always pretty much he's very respectful in the sense that he lets us be true to the song, and I think the songs, once we present them to him, they make sense anyway. As you know, when we're doing it, so we're all pretty much on the same page, and we don't really have that. The songs pretty much just stay the same. And
Have you ever wanted to work with a guy like a Brian Eno, or like if you think about what happened with Wilco and their famous album where they did this whole thing where they massively deconstructed their original demos, right? And they actually ripped the whole thing apart. Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, right? They took everything they did and they totally deconstructed it, and they took months to do it. Have you ever
That would be fun if you had the time and the
tried to do
budget.
something like
Yeah.
that?
yeah,
It could be fun to go back and look at early demos and do them in a big studio way at some point.
Yeah,
But,
I think something like that as well. It would be interesting to, I've always liked the idea because it is a bit, it's your vision and what you are. I'm very certain about certain things. I just won't compromise. I won't let it change it because
that's why
it's.
you're indie. That's why you do your own thing, right?
And I've got this very strong thing that because I hear the music and how it sounds and everything in my head. I don't know how it works, but I just hear it, and you can't. It's almost as if like you're cursing yourself if you go away from what is being delivered to you, and you're being disrespectful to that. So it's like if for instance, if we had a sort of like loose bass songs where we'll just put this and put that, then it becomes you're not attached to it, and then you're working with someone like that, you're automatically in the mind frame to go into this outer stellar, creative process with them.
I think that's interesting what you're saying because Hendrix had this statement one time, and I guess one of his siblings, like his brother, said that Hendrix was playing like on the Chitlin circuit with like the Isley Brothers and Little Richard, and he used to get in trouble because he's Hendrix, right? He's hard to be a backup guy when you're Hendrix, right? So Hendrix would say that something came to him from out in the cosmos, and he'd go and like not play the song. He'd go and play his own thing, right? So he's with the Isley Brothers, supposed to be playing their song, and then this thing would come in, and he said, "Well, I couldn't not do it because I didn't want to lose it."
Yes,
So
that's fair enough.
He would come in, and then they would say, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, I couldn't lose that. I got to put it down on tape, but it's our tape."
Yeah.
And they would get fired.
It's that automatic writing. It just it comes straight away, and I always think the song's already there in it, in the etheric plane, in not the physical world, but in another world, I guess. The song's already there, and they just need to come through.
You're tapping into it. It's like kind of like the poetic idea of the muse, right? A lot of Victorian poets had this idea, right? Tennyson and Wordsworth, all those guys were like, like even to get into like
the romanticism. It is a romanticism of nature, and it's never ending. I think I always say it's because you're always tapping into it. There's always inspiration there to come through. So it's never ending. It's just what comes out next. What's the next thing that's going to come? happens to it. I think Simon does it really well also. He just gets these songs.
In terms of like when you're channeling what's out there, like I think every musician has like a reference memory of everything they ever heard, right? And then everything that they've actually learned how to play, right? And then when you go to write something, being a musician, like you're an artist, right? So you're creative. You know what's gonna work, but you might not know. You might not have planned it out, but it like you have a sense that it just starts to fall together. To me, I tend to have things like I have a general idea, but then when I hit my Moog or something, I'll let the Moog like talk to me.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say before when my son interrupted me. Is I'm doing these splurging things where I just let the music form in the moment, and I'll go from having a blank canvas to pretty much a whole song within an hour and a half, and it's all done in that one session while you're vibing on that idea that you're laying down, and that there's no preconceived idea of like, oh, I'm going to write a house song, I'm going to write a chill wave song. I just let the music take me wherever it naturally does, and I'm ready to pick up on little things. So if I'm experimenting, through some soft synths or listening to some sounds, like I just pick up on something and go, oh, I can do this or I can do that. But just be willing to go in any direction with the song rather than having some preconceived idea of what I should be doing. So I'm just very attuned and alert to ideas that may be forming and going off in any direction that it might happen. But also in what we were saying before, when we collaborate with other artists, we're a lot more ready to experiment. So we've got about 5 collabs happening at the moment, and when it's not our own music and it's collaboration, we're a lot more able to let other people have a bit of a say in how the songs are structured or things like that. When we collab, we sort of just open ourselves up to experimentation.
Guesting on somebody else's work, or they guessed it on your work?
We do a bit of both. So at the moment in August, we've got a song called Perfect Diamonds coming out that we collaborated with Zach Vortex, who's a synthwave artist. So he sent us an initial song idea, and then we wrote some lyrics and added a few synths and guitars and stuff like that. So that was a fairly straight collaboration. And then we're going to be getting a few bands to remix it as well. So we got the Last Concord, Eccles, who I've worked with before, Ash Knight, and Spaceman 1981 all doing remixes for that song. Yeah.
Because of like what happened with COVID, have you found that doing all these like collabs or features or working with these artists, has that been something that has been like kept you going, or have you been focused more on your own work?
No, we're always looking for interesting collabs that we can do because it's just fun they sort of naturally pop up just from when you're out on social media and you're just talking with people or you listen to what people are doing. I just send people a quick DM or a shout out, or they do it to us. So we've actually got another collab lined up with an artist called Valeramus in Germany. So that will be fun. And that, they just come from just having chats in DMs on social media and just liking each other's stuff and saying, hey, let's do this. Yeah. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing, I actually did a couple of weird collabs, but not weird. But I, all the stuff I do is very experimental. But I started as a poet, and then I actually did a collab with a spoken word artist out of Canada, where she normally didn't do any kind of music, just totally spoken word. But then I interviewed her on the podcast, and then we ended up doing like a 3-song EP.
That sounds great. Yeah, we're actually we're doing it. I've been writing. I'll explain it just briefly. I've been writing 100 instrumental lo-fi tracks in 10 weeks. Has been my mission at the moment. So I'm actually up to week 7. So I've just finished my 70th experimental lo-fi instrumental track. And from these, I've been sort of seeing if some producers are interested in writing some stuff for us. So there's an artist called Spectoral, who we've worked with last year. He's one of our favourite producers in Melbourne here. So he's taken 3 of the songs that I've written, and he's going to do some vocals and stuff to it. And then, John's going to add some vocals and guitars and stuff. This is the first time John's finding this out, by the way. Yeah. So there's a Spectoral collab on the horizon.
There you
That's
go.
quite. You might have to mute John's mic there. I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's
But,
all right.
But
People have got to make their coffee and get to work and that kind of stuff, don't they?
yeah, I guess so. Well, I muted him for a second if that's what you should do. But what's interesting is when you talk about the 70 songs, I don't know if my whole history is I pretty much write a song a day.
That's what I'm doing now. And it becomes like going to the gym, but for a musician, like you get into that process of it's just something that's naturally easy for you to do. It's easier for me to now write a song every day than to not write a song every day. So I went from someone that may write a song every month or every 2 months, only when the mood strikes you. And that's something I really wanted to break, because it's if you want it to be like your main job or, your thing that you're doing, you can't just write when you're in the mood or you have inspiration. You have to
write
push
every
through
day.
you have to. It's strengthened me as a producer and just really refined my process. And now that I can take like the idea of a song into a fully fledged, finished, arrangement, within a couple of hours, rather than spending, months and months on it and tweaking a hi-hat to within an inch of its life, and that kind of thing. So it's just really about being in the moment and getting things done and committing faster to things and just doing what's sort of natural for the song in the moment.
Do you think because of the pandemic? Well, I've been talking to bands for the last year and a half, right? And what I noticed is a lot of bands, because they couldn't tour, that they actually did record a lot more.
There's going to be a lot of music coming out.
Yeah, almost every
which is
person
great.
I've talked to, they've actually learned how to play another instrument, learned how to become more of a producer, learned how to do more engineering than they ever had to, because maybe they couldn't get to the studio. So it just seems like it is weird thing. I'm a bedroom producer, right? So my whole setup is in my bedroom. So my Moogs are like right by my bed. So I pretty much that's why every day I play, because like if I feel like it, I just like jump on my Moog. And like you said, is like I let my analog sense kind of talk to me. And what I found over the years, the reason I kind of love analog, not because it's some trend, I've been using them for like 15 years, but it's just they talk to you like a member of the band, right?
Yes.
So I treat my Moog like with respect, and say, well, it has something to say to me, and I let it tell me that, and then I let it take me where I want to go. And the weird thing is, like, I don't know if people know this, but Sun Ra, the American jazz band, they got one of the first Moogs back in the 50s. They got one of the first ones. Robert Moog gave them one. And their kind of was from this philosophy of just let it talk to you. Like Sun Ra, and I always took that to heart. It's like, just let the thing, let it breathe and talk to you. If you let it do that, I get like endless inspiration, because the thing, like, it doesn't stop giving you different ideas.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And you can have the exact same setup, but each day something totally different will come to you. And the other thing that I'm really trying to get into is not having too much emotion when I write music, like, because if you get too excited about something, that can actually hinder you from finishing the piece as well. So it's almost like I'm just got a process that I go through, and then I think about it later. Like, so I write a song, mix it down, sort of leave it for a week, come back and listen to it. Then you can listen to it almost unbiasedly, and just then you can decide if it's any good or not. And also, some days the inspiration might not be there, but to not have emotion about that either. Just finish the song, mix it down, move on, not get discouraged. Just come back the next day, and you might have, might be doing something, genius then. But because before I might, you might have a writing session and nothing really good happens, and then you might be depressed about that for a week. You're like, oh, I can't write any, I can't come up with anything. But now I'm just like, it's not happening today. That's cool. Come back tomorrow and it'll be there,
But the one thing I was watching this documentary with Peter Gabriel, right? And he does all these weird, strange things. He's a very experimental guy, right? But he was able to hit the pop tune sometimes. But
Yeah.
one of the things he was doing, he was talking about how he does all these shadow vocals, and they're like
Hmm.
very, very low, or they might be actually like the original demo, right? And then he
Yeah.
decided, well, I don't like it, but I'm going to keep it, and then drop it really, really, really low, right? And then sing over it, and then just
Hmm.
keep on layering it. And he did stuff like the same kind of idea with the drums. You take the drums and then have a guy and take the analog tape of a bunch of drums and then cut it up and mix it up in totally different order than what it was played. Very progressive, strange kind of Pink Floyd-ish stuff. But I
Yeah,
was
we
very
like that idea of being very experimental, but then occasionally, like with the song that we just heard at the beginning of this, going really far into the pop sort of realm. But,
mhm,
you know, even though that song may have started very experimentally, you know, with abstract sounds and stuff like that, once you put in a pop vocal, you can make something, and it's just an interesting way of approaching things. But yeah, not everything that we write is going to be that poppy, but you know, it's interesting to sort of go there occasionally and have a, you know, a 3 minute, you know,
yeah.
pop song that's written, structured very much like a radio friendly single.
But that's the
And
whole
then we
thing.
might go to something that's a 10-minute noise jam in our next thing that we do. You know?
Yeah, we also, as you mentioned earlier, with Peter Gabriel just having the sort of ghost sounds, we've also experimented and recorded songs like that as well, where we'll have like sort of hidden guitars, and if you listen closely enough, you'll hear,
Hear it.
you know, you can hear it, or vocals or something like that that are really low in there, and
Mm.
you know, just meld it all together. But yeah, if you listen close enough, you can hear it, and I like that concept of being able to create sounds within the song that then the listener can go and find
Uncover,
later
yeah.
on that are just hidden in there, but they'll realize, oh shit, there's a whole other like little mini
Like
song in
Sergeant
this
Pepper
song.
type stuff. You know, it's remember the George Martin production that kind of started the whole idea of albums, right? And I actually saw this
Mm.
documentary where he was saying that a lot of those ideas came from the fact they used to produce Peter Sellers comedy records. And Peter Sellers comedy records had orchestras, backward tape loops, all kinds of special effects,
Hmm.
right? And so the Beatles actually liked the Peter Sellers comedy records. So when they met George Martin, they started to talk about those ideas that became Sergeant Pepper out of their love of the work he had done on the comedy records, which had all this non-traditional pop music production stuff, because it was actually more
Mm.
elaborate than what was going on in the pop music. So he took a lot of those elaborate ideas, and they became the standard practices of how albums are get done in, you know, in the late '60s and '70s. But I thought that was
Yeah.
very interesting because like I was like, where did that come from? And to
Mm.
actually hear him talk about like, okay, well, here's the genesis of why that happened. And I thought that was, you know, as a producer, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And
That
I
is
never thought
cool.
about
I'm missing that albums a lot at the moment, actually. Like, because at the moment, I mean, it's all about the single, and like
yeah.
particularly like the generations now, like they want their songs to be 2 minutes long, and they just
What do
want
you feel about
singles. You
that?
know, people don't have attention spans at all anymore. Naturally, I like, you know, about a 6 to 8 minute song where it
Yeah.
has time
Yeah,
to
me
sort
too.
of breathe and have breakdowns and go in different directions, and even have
2 minutes,
little, you
you
know.
can't get out the barn.
Yeah, I try and write 2 minute songs, and they just feel like throwaways. They don't. It
It
doesn't
feels
feel
like
like
I just
enough
got
time.
warmed up and then I shut it down. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it
just
feels.
when I got warmed up, then you tell me to shut it down. Okay. All
It
I
right.
feels
think
like there's
that,
so much more
there's
you can
definitely
say,
an
but there
art
is an
to it,
art.
though.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there
I
is an
think you can
art
really
to it.
expand and sound, and it's weird because, you know, you can make a 2 minute song sound like it goes a lot longer, and you can make an 8 minute song sound like a 2 minute song if it's
Yeah.
done
Mm.
right
Yeah. If you do it
progressively.
right. I think, I mean,
Yeah.
like if
So,
you're in the art of the 2 minute song, you could have a bunch of little you know, mini snippets,
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, you
that
just
could
hit
end up
everything in there.
building just like, you know, like as if it was um Hotel California, right? Or as if it was some kind of Pete Townsend part of Quadrophenia. But you could actually take
Yeah.
something, make it like a Yes song, have multiple parts and be shorter, or short or
Yeah.
sweet. And
Yeah,
I
that's right.
enjoy that.
Have a 6 minute song in 3 parts or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
release it like that.
yeah, that's
Could
how
be good.
my kind. Well, I'm a big rock opera guy. I kind of
Yep.
like, Tommy Quadrophenia, The Wall, that stuff is kind of
Yeah.
in my DNA as a producer. It's like what I like to go to. And though I know this world, everybody wants the 1 minute 50-second song.
Yeah.
And you got to be on a playlist with like a bunch of other people. But the whole thing is like I grew up as like a child in the 70s, right? And all my records were on 8-track or vinyl. Right?
Yeah.
So I had to listen to the whole thing, and I
Yeah,
wanted to
you
listen
can
to the
skip.
whole thing. And
Mm.
the thing I like today is the resurgence of vinyl, because I
Yes,
think
Yeah,
it's
there's
coming
a bit
back
of a
really strongly.
I think the resurgence of vinyl. So if you're an artist like yourselves, right, and you've got bigger songs, right, you got songs that go
Yeah.
6-8 minutes. Then if you can use the vinyl format at a micro level, right, you don't have to print off a lot of them, right? But you could actually, satisfy the hardcore fan that likes that
Mm.
wants to listen to that, and actually wants the experience of touching the vinyl, seeing the art.
Yeah, we
seeing-
definitely want to look at doing some physical type things sometime in the next year. We're sort of building up our fan base a bit first before we invest in something like that. We also like the idea of cassettes, like as a collector's item, because they're something like you can get the digital download or USB, but you also get the cassette, and it's something that may be a 1 of 100, and they're like you can have something about them that are a bit unique or one off. Yeah, so it
then
gives
you're able to get your idea out.
yeah, and it gives people something to collect, which is really cool as well.
Yeah, there definitely is something very special about holding physical music. And I think it also holds, not only you're holding a physical piece, but it also has a value to you, because this, physical object contains, a song. It contains it contains that whole album or whatever. And it is an actual experience to sit down and put an album on and, physically do it. And I think it creates more of a value and more of an experience in when you first put an album on. And I used to love the fact that, obviously, before you could stream songs and that, you would have to go and buy a physical album. It was a journey. It wasn't like you just tap your phone and you listen to it straight away. It's lost that essence. It's like you would have to wait for that album to come out. You would go to the store that has it. Some stores, especially if they were more peculiar, like indie bands or something that no one knew of, you would have to find. Yeah, you'd have to.
The real indie record store, right? Because I was a big fan to like Sub Pop, right? I was a big fan of like IRS records that had the original REM on it, right? So when REM was first out, it was very hard to find their records because they were on IRS and it wasn't in every store. So I had to actually take my bicycle and ride around to all these different record shops, trying to find.
Yeah, it was a journey.
Trying
It was
to
just
find it. And then when I found it, I was like, "Oh, I found it!" And I was like, all so psyched that I
and then you'd go home, and set yourself up for the mood, So and then sit down, and then it was an event, and I think it's sad because
and I'm like, I got it. I got the Reckoning because I had Murmur, and then I got the Reckoning, and I'm like, I actually was a big fan of when I couldn't actually understand what Michael Stipe was saying.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually like.
I sometimes like when listening to lyrics in different languages, or when you're not quite sure what the singer's saying, and you can almost write your own lyrics.
The End of the World. It's the End of the World, and we know that song. I don't know if it's called that, but yeah, it's like no. Yeah, he's just spitting it all out.
Early REM, it's even more. It's very murky. The mix is so murky. You catch a word here and there, but it was like the thing about it was like this melody with the Rickenbacker guitars, right? These 12-string guitars, and it had this melody to it. I was like, it didn't really matter. It was kind of like it was just very musical, and it sounded different than anything else. What was going on? It wasn't punk. It was like a post-punk kind of like mixing of this Birds type of sound with this kind of Southern mysticism. This weird Southern mysticism about the South, but there's these weird stories that didn't really make. There's a new allegory, new stuff. It didn't make. It was like all this weird stuff that Stipe was coming up with. That wasn't really. It was a mixture of like history and then fake, this weird stuff that he was creating this scene. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. He's creating like a Van Morrison idea, right? Because this weird mysticism in the South, American South.
Wow. I was going to say, I wonder if there are actually bands now that refuse to put their music digitally on digital platforms and just keep it
there's
on
plenty.
vinyl and keep it on
There are
cassettes, and
some.
you
I've
can't.
seen some bands in Nashville, and that Jack White is a big purveyor of doing vinyl.
Yeah,
And he's in
Yeah.
Nashville with his Third Man Records is just totally vinyl, and he does have acts on that label that are totally vinyl
Mm.
because that's his whole thing. He's
that's it.
Yeah.
They
brought back
don't go.
all these.
Yeah, that's
He's
great.
brought
Yeah, I
back
know
all
there's a lot of bands that don't put their stuff on Spotify, and it's like, so you have to
Yeah,
buy it on
you
other
have to
platforms,
actually
or you have
buy
to
it
buy a
or the
physical
physical.
thing as well. Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I mean I understand.
Which is-
I look at Spotify and stuff like the radio. It's kind of like you
Yeah.
got to get it,
Yeah.
right? Like so I can talk to
Yeah.
you guys like you. But because I
Yeah.
find out about bands because of the streaming. But like when I go to buy music,
Mm.
I buy the vinyl. I buy the
Yeah.
tape.
Yeah,
I
well,
buy
some people only put some of their songs on Spotify or things like that. So it's a bit like, if you like that, then you've got to go and
Mm.
you
yeah,
go to Bandcamp
get
or
the
something and buy the
get
vinyl.
the whole album. But they use that just as a promotional tool, which is
Yeah.
how I see it a bit as well. But I mean, we've got 53 tracks up on Spotify now through working on all of our collabs and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
it's
Well, I
actually
think
4 hours and 17 minutes of music we've got up on Spotify now, which is pretty
that's
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm an insane guy. I mean, I got like 3,000 songs. I wrote
Yeah.
like 400 in circulation. But
That's
Jeez.
great.
I've
Yeah.
been writing since I was like 16. I'm 53.
Mm.
So
But most of those came from last year when we started doing our remix project. So a lot of them remixes are on there. But speaking of remixes, this is a good segue. The song that we listened to run just before at the start of this, in the 16th of July, Friday 16th of July, we've got a EP coming out, which is the Run Remix EP. So we've got Rotodop Sny, who's done a really good remix of that. Yuri Kim, who remixed Blue Oceans recently.
Mm.
Has done the thing. And who else have we got? The Monkey Noughts and also Increment. So we've got 4 quite different versions of Run coming out. On the Friday the 16th of July. So we're excited
that's
about that
interesting.
one.
There was a period back in the 80s and 90s
Mm.
when a lot of artists used to have these remixes, right?
Remixes, yeah.
Yeah, the 7-inch, to get these
Mm.
EPs. Like I'm a big Prince head, right? So Prince, when he put out like Sign at a Times, he had all these extra little double singles and EPs
Yeah, I
with
like
Yeah,
how he
long
did that.
extended versions as well of
extended
songs.
versions and
Yeah.
remixes and all this stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
I never really was into that, but I was a
Yeah.
Prince kid. So then if Prince did it, then I buy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do see
Yeah.
that, like, that it was a big thing, and it seems to be still a big thing. There's a lot of producers that like to go at different things and come out with
Yeah,
all
we like doing extended versions of songs. We've got a couple of songs where we have released the 8-10 minute version, and then we've also done the 3 minute, chopped it up, we've butchered it. We're like, my baby. But but
EDM version,
yeah, or even just our original, like how if we weren't, if no one was telling us there was, you can't play a 10-minute song on the radio or anything
you
like
throw it
that.
out there.
Like just our original artistic vision, we'll release that, and it may get half the amount of plays as the 3-minute radio edit will get, because people don't look at the song and they go, 10-minute version, 3-minute version. If they don't know you very well, they're going to just listen to the 3-minute version. And also, if people are adding a song to their playlist, they're going to go for the 3-minute version, unless they're a huge fan or a purist. But
I'm naturally really drawn to long versions of songs. I always feel you get more bang for your buck. Like you pay for a song and then you get this like 8-minute song as opposed to paying for like a 2-minute song.
Just as a kid, I used to see Parliament Funkadelic, right? So if you go see Parliament Funkadelic, right, or you go see the Grateful Dead, or you see the Almonds, right? I came from a time where the songs were like 8-10 minutes. That's like the norm, So my generation, like a lot of us, the guys that we went to go see the Who, right? The Who, almost all their songs are like part of rock operas, and they're part of these big sets that go long, and I kind of
Mm.
came with the idea that, I like punk, I like the Clash, I like the fact
Mm.
when they shortened it and they did this stuff. But then even the
Yeah.
Clash ended up making longer songs because
Yeah.
like they evolved and got the Sandinista. And once you get on
We
Sandinista,
find
you have like 6 people.
because we play using Ableton in loops and things like that, so we don't have a preconceived idea of how the songs go when we play live. That we can extend and
Yeah,
have
it's really fun that way.
long jams and things like that. But
That's
when
awesome.
we're recording our things, like recording our sets, and we go, oh wow, that was really amazing. We have a look at how long it is, and we're like, oh man, that was 15 minutes, and we're like, oh. And so we're always a bit conscious when we play live. We're like, yeah, we're going to play that one, but let's try and
You pull
shorten
the
it. But
audience in.
sometimes it's just natural to
It
make a
goes for
song
like,
go
yeah,
that
10,
long.
12, 13 minutes. It does, and it's true. But it
Yeah.
doesn't feel that way because
You're
all these
playing it.
interesting.
Yeah, it feels
You're
like about 3-4
jamming.
minutes, but yeah.
You're jamming in sections. You're extending other sections. And it
Mm.
just it creates this nice momentum, and it all works because it's happening naturally, and you
Do
can
you
get away
think
with
when
it
you
in a
play
live
when you
way.
when you play live, do you feel like you can go longer,
Oh
or the
yeah,
audience is being more like
Yeah,
they like?
sometimes we do. Yeah, we just try not to have but it's more because there's might be another band that's coming on after you, and you're more
it's
worried
true.
about the time.
They might not
Unless you're playing last, which sometimes we do, and there's no, you can
no
play for as
time
long as you like.
yeah,
If you're
Yeah,
headlining the show, you can do,
whatever
yeah,
you want.
15-minute jams
it's
and all that sort of thing.
it's so
But
much
but when
fun.
you've got a
Yeah, it
sound
is.
engineer who's like
You like cut it
pointing
off.
at his watch, and you're halfway through a song and you're like, oh, we haven't even got to the climax yet. You know,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Or we'll also
it's
organize a set. Like we'll say, okay,
mm,
let's do the 10-minute version and give ourselves, that leeway with this
mm,
song, and let's maybe only play like 5 or 6 songs in a set, and some of them might be 10 minutes,
mm.
and it takes up time, but it's great because when we are playing those songs, I'm always like talking. Me and Simon are talking to each other while we're playing live. We're like, let's hang on to this for a bit more, and let's,
Yeah.
we're
Well, it's
just
interesting.
creating it as we're going.
Mm.
Which is really
Yeah, it's
good.
like
Yeah.
EDM and trance, right? They those DJs they go long. It's kind of like reminds me back in the day
Mm.
when we had the vinyl DJs in New York City. They
Yeah.
had these big long jams like Planet Rock, going like 20 minutes. It's like
Yeah.
there were some of the original hip hop. You go listen to it, they were like it was like progressive rock. I mean, it was like a
Mm.
Yes album, like a 20-minute track. You have
Yeah. Well, the
songs.
big part of our music is we do want people to get into that sort of trance and that euphoria, which you can only really do when you have an extended sort of repeated
Yeah,
thing that's happening, or a long song that allows you time to sort of get into that
build. Yeah, you got to build.
headspace. Yeah. So that's yeah, definitely a big part of what we like to do, particularly live. Yeah,
It seems
which
that
is
the
good.
one thing that's interesting, like rock music has gone away from like concept albums, but like in the hip hop genre,
Mm.
it's very likely that people will actually listen to a whole project. They actually
Mm.
get like a Kendrick
Mm.
Lamar and listen to the whole album. A
Oh
Yeah,
Tyler,
they're,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
Creator,
incredible. They do these
Igor,
really good. Yeah.
like
Yes.
Igor, like that's a whole long concept. Kendrick Lamar, that his albums are
Yeah.
concept albums, and you basically do listen to them all the way through. It just seems like it's gone from the rock holding the banner of that to like
Yeah.
other genres doing it, like EDM and hip hop are doing it, but rock has
Yeah.
gone away from it, except in the indie world where there are bands that are still trying to be like a Magua. Magua still does like
Mogwai.
Mogwai,
Magua.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
love those guys.
They
Yeah.
do like these big long yes type of things. They're
Mm.
very
Yeah.
like Genesis, and
Yeah.
that
I
I've
think bands that were established sort of before everything changed, because they're definitely from the old school. They have fans that appreciate the album and the concepts and that sort of thing. So
I think it
if,
was
if a
early two
band sort of
thousands as well. There was
yeah,
a
if
big
bands made it
resurgence of that.
before, they yeah, they can keep doing that sort of thing, and they've got the fan base. Whereas if there's a new band or someone sort of trying to cut through, it'll be harder for people to
get in.
connect with them wanting to do a longer project. Yeah, that's how I see it in this one. Um, we're very excited to play your festival
Festival.
coming up. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's talk about
we
that.
can
I'm
see
gonna
you.
have to go soon because I got to get to work.
Yeah.
Just coming up nearly to 8 o'clock here.
Yeah, we usually
But
only go like 60 minutes, so we only got like maybe 10 minutes left or less. But
yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yep.
one thing we like to do is like since we started this whole podcast thing back in 2018, and
Mm,
we were a producer, right? We're a bedroom producer, and we like decided that we'll take some of the time that we normally like to record and actually interview bands that we or artists that we're into. And that
sure.
journey has brought us to this point where we said, hey, why don't we take advantage of the fact that bands can't play live in a lot of places
Mm,
and ask the guests that have been on the show to actually take part in this thing. So in July 16th through the 18th, starting on a Friday night, the 16th, we're going to
yep.
do a 3-day, what we call the Fam Electric Ghost Bedroom Producer Festival. It's not exactly everybody's a bedroom producer, but that's what we're calling it. And
Yep.
we got like 22 acts right now. You know, they're going to play over 3 days, and it's pretty good. We got a wide swath of like rock bands, DJs,
Mm-hmm.
spoken word artists, all different types. And basically, all the different types of people I interview are represented. Female acts, bands, like
Mm-hmm.
DJs. We're trying to get some actors to do some soliloquies and stuff too. But yeah,
That'll be cool.
it's
Yeah.
just a cool thing to let people see the diversity of indie music on the web is what we're trying to do. And you guys are going to take part.
Yeah, we're we're
very
booked in
excited.
for the Friday. I think we're on at 10
Yeah.
p.m. New York time Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, which will be Saturday morning for us, which is good. Yep. Yeah, really
We're getting ready
excited
to
about
start
that.
putting posters out. So I have a guy that I actually interviewed, who's
Mm,
helped me as my assistant. He's putting together the poster. We have an initial
mm-hmm.
poster that just tells you what it is. We've thrown it on our Instagram a couple of times, but we're
Yep.
actually putting together like every band that's going to play. We're taking like your like photos that you've given us or your
Yep.
logo. So if you guys
Great.
got the logo that you want used or you've got photos, send us a photo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we'll
great. We've
send some
definitely got a
stuff through.
logo. Yeah.
Yeah, that you want to use
That sounds
specifically
great.
for this. Yeah, and we'll get it. I'll get it to him,
Mm.
and he's putting together that. So since I have you, I'll remind you.
Yeah, no, that sounds really fun. We're going to put together a nice set for that one, and we'll see if we play it or we might just experiment and jam. You never know what we're
Yeah,
going to
might
do.
do some
I'm
extend. We'll
jamming.
definitely do some extended versions in your honor for sure.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I'm jamming
Yeah.
with the stuff back there. I'm
Yeah,
jamming with
that's
the
love it. Sounds
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
I've been playing with my cameras. That's my main thing right now. I'm trying to get my camera set up to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and have a look if I can get a similar thing to what you've got. What was it? The Roland
VR1, not to push this
Roland
button.
VR1. So it just cycles through a few cameras
Yeah, it
automatically.
does a round robin because
Yeah, so you can have one above your keyboard. Can you plug phones into that, or it has to be cameras?
Well, the way it works is it can take an audio line out of your
Mm-hmm.
mixer and bring it into the system, and it's got ability to do like syncing between different cameras, right? So
Yeah.
like if you've got like the sync issues between different cameras, could you be using different companies, like different like a Sony camera and an iPhone camera and a Zoom
Yeah,
camera?
that's right. Yeah.
And so it's got like a built-in like capability to adjust the timing and the
Yep.
syncing between the sound. And then it allows you to bring in the audio from like I have an MX1 performance mixer from Roland. So I
Mm-hmm.
can actually take the audio of that and take all my synths and feed them into this. And then that
Yeah.
comes to the PC and it comes into StreamYard. And that's how you'll hear me.
Yeah.
But it's
No, it sounds like a good setup. But yeah, we're definitely keen to be doing more live streams. Like we'd like to be doing a live stream, like even like as a weekly thing. So doing this concert for you is like a good way of sort of getting us fast forwarding this process a bit. We have done a few live streams for people before, just with single camera sort of thing. But yeah, we want to like look at upping our production game a bit,
cool stuff you
because
can do with like green screens.
yeah, we're definitely going to be getting into that.
Moving green. You have the like stationary green screens. Then you can have actually green screens that have stuff going on. So we
Yeah.
have actually moving video green screens or blue screens.
Yeah.
And that all the special effects you can embed into that stuff. And I decided because I normally go to New York.
Yeah.
I'll invest my budget for going to New York and actually invest in the cameras and the equipment, because I probably can't do that until 2022. So I'll just take that budget and put it into doing live shows, and it'll help because I'm going to do this bedroom festival like more. I'm probably going to do it twice a year.
Yeah.
Probably might do it again in December. We're definitely going to do it twice in 2022. And we're actually working with some partners to maybe potentially do it
Yep.
physically in New York City in 2022.
Oh,
So
that'd be huge.
yeah, we're trying to work with some partners, some indie labels that might help us out. But we don't
Yep.
have names to talk about yet. But yeah, that's something we're looking forward to.
That sounds incredible. Yeah, no, well, you're doing a great job supporting independent musicians around the world. I just love how we can be so connected through the internet these days. It is an exciting time to be a musician, like, because there's, we don't have the gatekeepers necessarily holding us back that we did before. And we're, can be independent, truly independent, and we can release, whatever we want to release. Like, there's no one telling us, no, you can't do that. And
I'm just trying to build a collective, like a podcast collective, right? My goal is, and I've told people before, but before you go, is anybody who's come on my show, I encourage all artists who've been on my show to actually look at the other people I've interviewed and cross collaborate. And actually, a lot of artists that have been on this show have actually gone on their own and actually contacted people I've interviewed, and then they've gone on to work with them. And I
that sounds great.
Wholeheartedly, because I actually that's the goal. I want people from different types of music genres and capabilities to look at the story behind each one of these bands, and then say, hey, maybe I want to work with you guys, and find a way to talk to you. And whether or not everybody wants to do that, but I think it's a collective idea, and it is in the indie world. I think it's a good place to do that. Like, we take our own energy and we build our own opportunities. That's the point.
Yeah, I
that's
think
right.
you're straight on the money there, and that's what I say. With me and Simon, we also feel that with collaborating with people, with having that openness of just, okay, the song here, we've done a song. If you want to remix it or something like that, or create something new out of it, we're always open to it, because I think it just creates this connection. Yeah, that you have, you instantly create a connection, and then not only are you your own band, but then you're two musical acts coming together, and then even a third time, you might even end up, coming out being remix type thing, and then you've just got all these artists playing on one, recording, and it broadens the horizons for everyone, because there's always that 6 degrees of separation, and you are actually connecting with people and building a strong community and getting yourself out there, 6 times faster, getting heard, and sharing that music that you want to share with, and it allows a gateway for other people to share that music with you. And it's not about your ego. It's not about, oh, this is just me. It's about actually, all these other artists coming on board, having a feature here and there, and sort of like what happens with, I think, in the the sort of, I've noticed with a lot of rappers and stuff like that, you'll have a bunch of artists feature on one song, that you haven't even heard of before, but you might like that one artist there and be like, I've never heard of that dude before. I might want to check what his other stuff is, what his others, what he's done previous to that.
It's like when
we're doing that electronically now. It sounds good.
That up and coming artist Paul McCartney featured on Kanye West's song a couple of years back. All the kids were like, I don't know who this Paul McCartney is, but he's going to be huge because he just got a feature with Kanye. Yeah.
I just think it's awesome to have that kind of cross collaboration, and I think it's just I feel that the more that you can work with other people, that maybe like a punk band works with a jazz band,
Oh yeah.
Punk band works with a heavy metal band, just because
sometimes it doesn't make sense on paper, but then when you hear it, it can be the best thing ever, because it's breaking down the walls between the genres. And introducing fans of both of acts to each other and to new things, opening their minds, expanding their horizons. Yeah.
So definitely, I'm glad you guys are going to be on the Bedroom show from the 16th to 18th of July. We're going to be
Yep.
pushing that. You'll see tons of stuff on social media, and this will
Excellent.
be out
We'll
there.
push it as well.
Yeah, definitely push it.
So this is going to
Obviously,
be
yeah.
on 11 podcast platforms on audio. It's already on Twitch. It's on our YouTube. It's on our Facebook. And we've actually got a couple Facebook channels, done 2 different Facebook channels we got. So we will send you the links that we have after this so you can push it. And we will be pushing the story on Instagram for the Spotify version. And as always, we appreciate the fact that you came on the show. And we really encourage everybody to go look at the link we have up here. Go to the safety word, check out their stuff, download it, go everywhere they have stuff. Make sure that you download, you buy it, you go to iTunes and you buy it, you go to Amazon, you buy it anywhere you can buy it. Because the one people need to understand that just streaming a song is not good enough for musicians. Really, if you really love a musician, you need to go and download and like. Don't forget to like. People forget, they get busy. Make sure you like, you download, and you purchase. That's what you do. Thank you very much.
Well said.
That sounds awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really
Got to get
appreciate
out
your
of
time.
here now, and yeah, it's always a pleasure to come on your show and
Always,
just
yeah.
have a chin wag and see what happens. Yeah.
Thank you guys. We'll see you again. I know you're always open to come on the show. You got something new, let me know, and we'll push it out. Okay.
Sounds
Thank you
amazing.
so much, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. See you.